And to Mr. Kellaway's point, Mr. Chair, I'll make no bones about it that I wrote the Minister several times in support of the livelihoods of harvesters in Newfoundland and Labrador, and to support a lot bigger quota increase than what they got, but not to change the fishery from a stewardship fishery to a commercial fishery. Mr. Chair, as you know, it was the other side of the House, it was the Liberals who lobbied to have that fishery reopened as a commercial fishery because it would be a political win. I wasn't looking for a win in politics in terms of what would be happening with the northern cod fishery. Mr. Chair, I was looking for a win for our harvesters and our plant workers and our coastal communities that depend on it so much. So back to Mr. Burns, to that statement about how the minister was seeking year-round employment in the fishery in Newfoundland and Labrador by this mere increase of basically 3,000 tons or 5,000 tons. So basically, I guess we could say that the 3KL portion was caught in about a dozen fishing days. Mr. Vigneault or Mr. McGilvery, they fished about a dozen days altogether because they only fished about 2 days a week. And then a vessel like the Calvert with 6% of, and the shared as well, that's shared by ice water. That 6% can be fished in less than a couple of weeks. So you're talking about altogether less than 30 days of harvesting by a fraction of the people involved in the industry in Newfoundland and Labrador. How does that add up to year-round employment?
Certainly, at the current quotas, Mr. Chair, as the member indicated, the total number of harvesting days necessary to harvest that are limited. Certainly, our view is that we've put in place a management regime that is sustainable. And that will hopefully result in a further increasing in the biomass and enable increases in the total quota in the coming years, which will over time increase obviously the number of harvesting days and enable even greater removals throughout the course of the year.
So getting back to the first round of questioning here, I never did get an answer from yourself, Mr. Burns. The Prime Minister made a pretty big promise back in 2015. Was that a promise that he could have kept?
So again, it's the Minister of Fisheries who makes the decisions related to the management of the fishery pursuant to the Fisheries Act. And in her decision, she did, as I've noted in her June announcement, indicated that the reason she took the allocation decisions she did, including providing the vast majority to the inshore, was, however, to have some access to other fleets, recognizing that foreign offshore vessels would also be fishing outside of Canada's 200 miles, and wanting to ensure that there would be ongoing employment. Year-round employment.
If you were Prime Minister, with your knowledge of northern cod and commitments that are already in place with that, if you were the Prime Minister, would you have made that promise for 115,000 tons to the inshore fleet? Would you have made that promise if you were Prime Minister?
Again, the Fisheries Act gives that decision-making authority to the Minister of Fisheries, and she did indeed indicate the basis for the decision that she took.
So the promise that was made without authority, is what you're saying?
I can't speak to that, to a political promise, but what I can say is that the minister's decision was based on an objective of having a robust fishery in the years to come as well, that would generate year-round employment and economic benefits.
Mr. Chair, it seems that Mr. Burns can't answer that question, so I'd like to move that the committee call the minister to come in and answer that question. If that 115,000 tons was a legitimate promise that could have been kept, Mr. Chair.
she's coming? She is. Oh, okay. Yep, thank you for that.